Hey you guys, so I'm inspired to talk a little bit today. Try to put some videos out. Just gonna go and walk around my neighborhood pond and get a little bit more inspiration. It's November 2nd, so I wanted to try a little something since I got back out of the woods. Been out for, I don't know, maybe a little over a week now, I guess 10 days or so. And the cool thing about being out there is that you're able to separate and see things differently. And the one thing that I was noticing is I was getting sucked into this victim's mentality. And the thing about being sucked into victim's mentality is you project the world around you that you essentially accept. And the crazy thing is, so I've had these dreams for, I don't know, a number of years. This is one of the things that's inspired me to have these, make this video right now. I had these dreams that Hillary Clinton is going to be president and we're going to be in World War III and all of the above. And the interesting thing is, like, I accepted that this is the outcome. So, of course, no matter what the hell she did, she got off all of the above. When I was out there in the woods, something hit me. Said, you know what, Brian? If you're really as strong as an empath as you think you are, and you really believe in all of this fucking shit, then you can essentially project your will out there and change the outcome of this already given situation. So I'm like, you know what? Let's give this a try. Ever since I got out, I've been thinking, not necessarily Donald Trump per se, but not Hillary Clinton, not Hillary Clinton, not Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton, projecting her being in prison, projecting her going down, projecting her being so intertwined with all of the rubbish of the world that just simply because of her going down, she's going to bring a lot of folks down with her. Now, this is November 2nd, mind you, just take a note of that. I have been seeing things change right in front of me, my dreams, all of the shit, and I'm getting chills just thinking about it. I honestly think that she's going down. She's not just gonna go away and live her nice little lavish life the rest of her life. She's going fucking down. She's going to prison. She's gonna get thrown away. She's gonna be the fucking poster child of, you're not fucking with this country anymore. And we won't get into who I'm talking about fucking with this country, Zionist Rothschilds, but we'll just talk about positive stuff today. Because I feel that she is going down, and this whole corruption that's behind all of the nonsense, all the crazy tinfoil hat folks, you know, that's essentially looking like they know a thing or two. And I'm not saying that they know all of it. I'm not saying all the conspiracy theories are right, although the vast majority of them are. But what it boils down to is what you accept. When you say, hey, I'm a victim, and I can't do this because of that. I can't do this because of this rule. I can't do this because I'm not physically able to. I mean, there's a lot of tools out there that can help you get past that physically able part. All you gotta do is start being creative, start thinking, start putting your mind to these things. Put out the energy and make that shit happen. Because you'll go and learn a good bit about this empath stuff, you know, on the internet. All you'll read about is how you're essentially this, like, weak emotional sponge. And you walk into a room and you feel all of their fucking feelings. But what if you start looking at things like, a perfect analogy that I come across was the Jedi. If you go and look at George Lucas's stories, not just a couple of the movies, but look at the Clone Wars cartoon. Believe it or not, there's a lot of fucking hidden messages and cool shit behind that. If you go and not even necessarily find it in that, but you can scout out these hidden messages all over the fucking place. But that's a good one that I'll give you as analogy is the Jedi. Now, empaths are much like the Jedi. Some Jedi are obviously more powerful than others. Some do certain things that others cannot. There is a certain matter of the dark side and the light side. Now, when you're an empath that doesn't necessarily accept who you are or what you are, a lot of the times you find yourself involved in addiction in order to try to ease your pain. Everyone finds this ability to be, I guess, the hardest step, because you don't really know exactly who and what you are, and the first thing you have to do is accept what you are. Before you can do anything about it, you need to understand who and what you are. And in life in general, that's actually the key. Before you can really make anybody happy, you have to first make yourself happy. And you got to first understand who and what you are. What are you after? What would make you happy in this world? What are you most passionate about? Once you accept those things, go with it. The worst thing you can do is lie to yourself. I mean, for a while I tried to lie to myself about who I am or what I am, and to impress other people and what have you. And to be honest with you, I never impressed anybody doing that, because the people that I like being around and tried to impress were obviously fucking smart, so they could see right through this nonsense. And that's generally how it works. When you find somebody you're trying to impress, it's not just some fucking retard. I mean, sorry, but let's use a different word. Some ass clown. Yeah, let's use the word ass clown. Let's steal that right from Jack Spirko. I'm going to give him a shout out because that's his word, essentially. He may not have invented it, but at least I've heard it from him, and I really like that word, ass clown. It's one of those things that pretty much explains all of those people that you otherwise wouldn't care for in a situation in public, I guess. But as an empath, you have to learn how to project your energy outward. When you walk into a room, you essentially have the control over everyone in that room as far as their mood goes. Okay, you can go in there with a piss poor attitude and just angry as fuck, and other people are going to feed off of that, because that's one of your abilities. That's one of your potential abilities anyways. It's just like you absorb other people's energy and you can feel other people's energy, you feed off of their energy, they feed off of your energy. And if it's positive, if it's something that you can get up on a soapbox and really put forth, and people will be drawn to that. Not necessarily all the people that you would like, but the people that need to hear your message will be drawn to you. And that's ultimately what you need to be searching for. We have a problem with trying to... It's funny, there's certain individuals that I very much like to, see this video and it's like, yay, Brian, that's a fucking high five for you. But ultimately, that's not how you need to think about things. You need to look at it like you're doing it not necessarily for recognition. And that's how human beings are bred to see things at this point. They have to have their recognition. They have to get their compensation, Whenever somebody does something, you expect something in return. And when you look at Jesus' teachings, it's not entirely how he was preaching, I don't think. At least I don't see it that way. The great thing about the Bible is it is very malleable and you can see it however you want. The odd thing is I see it in an entirely different way than anybody else does. And I think that's really how everyone else is, but I'm just honest with myself and say, yeah, I don't agree with everybody else's views. And I think that's why there's so many different denominations, and everybody always complains about so and so at their church and what have you. And everything is malleable. There's no one way, there is no one path, there is no one religion. All the religions are just as equally, you know, Jesus did say that the only way to get into heaven is through him, but he's also the very first person that ever brought to anyone's attention that you don't need a mediator, you don't need a priest, you don't need a church, you don't need a fucking figurehead in order to get into heaven. So he's almost contradicting himself. No one would ever dare say, oh, Jesus contradicts himself in the Bible, but I'd like to say that right there on that particular instance. If you don't need a mediator, why is Jesus the only way through it? I think they just added that in on later terms because the Gnostic texts don't really show anything about, that kind of wording and what have you. So that's just my 2 cents on that whole religion thing. But I'm under the impression Jesus was one of the strongest empaths ever documented in history. The things that he was able to do, his healing powers, I mean, once you really open yourself up and you do away with your ego and you become more spiritually driven, you're going to be able to do some fucking incredible things. Healing others, healing yourself, healing animals, fucking talking to animals, not even necessarily talking. I mean, you'll talk to them and they won't come up and say, hey, what's happening, Brian? What's going on? What can I help you out with today? Not necessarily that, but you'll be able to read the expressions on their faces and their mannerisms and the energy they put off. And it's because of that empathetic abilities that you have. When you tune into that, you can almost look at it like the Force, okay? Once you understand it that way, look at the big old fucking vulture. Hopefully you guys saw that. He was hanging out in the tree.